everyone, I'm Jodi and welcome to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here today. I hope you guys are doing well and enjoying the slow entry into fall. From fall candles to fall cozy clothes. This is my favorite time of year and this is one of my favorite tutorials. One of the latest fall trends is fluffy, youthful lashes, and it requires a little bit more than a couple coats of mascara. Now you can certainly minimize the look or you can glam it up. Today's video is all about an in-depth tutorial from the base, your foundation, all the way up to your eyes to help you incorporate this latest fall trend in your overall makeup look. So whether you're glammed out for the night or you just want a nice easy look for dropping off kids to college or going into the office, I think you're gonna enjoy this tutorial. Now remember to customize this tutorial. Everything from the color of your skin to the shape of your eyes to the shape of your eyebrows and the health of your lashes will all need to be taken into consideration as you're walking through this tutorial. So if you haven't followed me yet on social media, make sure that you do that. Follow me over on Instagram where I have other tips, some new product launches, product recalls, things like that. Just other parts of the beauty industry and the beauty world that you might want to know about and be a part of. So if you're interested in this tutorial on how to achieve a fun, natural, fluttery eyelash, then grab your mascara, your eyelash curler, maybe some false lashes, and we're gonna get started. Okay, so once I have my foundation everywhere, I just like to go back in and buff it out softly so that there are no brush strokes and just really mold it and melt it into the skin so that it just looks like my skin has sort of that flawless look to it. Okay, now because we want this look to be all about the eyelashes, a little bit about the eyebrows, but really right through here, we want a very flawless finish to our skin. The next thing I'm gonna do is just add a little bit of warmth to my skin, and I love wearing the YSL B40, as you guys know, but this is the B60. I purchased it for summer, and I like it for a little bit of a contour bronze, but not a heavy bronze look. So I just add a little bit of that to my synthetic brush, and I'm just gonna add slightly through this area, a little bit down where I would normally contour, a little below the jawline, get a little bit from this side, add it over to here. So you can see it's only a few shades darker than my normal skin, and that's because this is more of an everyday look. I don't want a glammed up look right now. So then I'm gonna go back to that foundation brush that I used earlier and just buff that into the skin. And that just gives a nice healthy glow without adding a strong contour to your look. So if you by accident have purchased a foundation and it was way too dark, just hang on to it and it comes in very handy for soft looks like this. Just want to pounce that in a little bit. I'm not trying to move the product. I just want to blend it into my skin and bring it down the neck. Not too far down because I have a cream shirt on, which that probably wasn't the best idea for this tutorial, but you know, we'll make it work. Whatever's left on my brush, I just go around as if I was bronzing. So you can see that just leaves a nice glow to the skin without looking contoured. Now what I want to do, because I'm not going to use a heavy eyeshadow look today with dark colors, I'm going to use my concealer first. Otherwise, if I was using dark eyeshadows, I would do my concealer at the end, but that's not the case today. So I'm just going to put a few drops right through here. And then I want to get rid of that discoloration on my lid. So I'm just going to add a little bit through there. And that's going to be really important for this look, that we neutralize the pigment on our lids so that whatever color we add from a eyeshadow perspective, we get the true color payout. And then I'm just going to add a few underneath my eyes like that. And I just want to let that sit for a second and get a little bit more tacky, because once you do that, it's less movable and we want to work with it while it still has some play in it, but you don't want it so liquidy that you can move it everywhere and you've lost that specific placement that you're looking for. So I'm just going to grab another synthetic brush and cover up any of those purple areas, that discoloration. Now I know today I don't have too much purple under my eyes. If I did, then I would go in with a color corrector and then a little bit of concealer, but I don't need to do that because I got a good night's sleep last night and it's not too purple underneath my eyes today. That's not always the case, however, so there are days when I do need to add some color corrector and then add the concealer on top of it. We're just gonna rub that in everywhere and get our lids to a nice neutral spot. And then I want to press that in on the rest of my face. And I like to use my fingertips when I'm doing my under eye concealer because I just feel that the warmth of my fingers really does allow that product to go deep into those wrinkles that are also deep. And I use the Creaseless Concealer by Tarte. As always, I will link all these products in the description box below in case you are interested in knowing more about the product or how to purchase it or the price. It's all right there for you and pretty simple, except for my friends in Canada. I know sometimes it is challenging for you guys to find some of the same products that we have here in the States at the same store, so I apologize for that. All right, so now we've got a little bit of lightness to our eyes, a little bit of brightness. So now we're gonna go into our eyebrows, and I just wanna get a nice natural look to the brows today, but I want them to have some warmth and some color and some shape. But because they're not the star of the show, and because my look is gonna be a little bit more on the natural side with just a lot of emphasis on just the lashes, then my brows need to play a softer role. So I'm going to use eyeshadow instead of a brow pencil. Now, if you're in a hurry, you can certainly use a brow pencil for this step. So I'm just gonna grab the matte sandstone and my normal eyebrow brush, and I'm gonna go into it on the very tip, brush off any excess, and start to shape my brows. Even if your skin is more cool tone, you wanna have a little bit of warmth to the brow. Now, I don't wanna add darkness right through the here. I want the front of my eyebrows to have a little bit of a wispy look to them. So you'll notice that when I go to sculpt my brows, I'm starting just inside that first pencil width of eyebrow, right about there. So I'm gonna start just next to that and go up and shape my bottom section of the brow. And then I wanna just draw a little bit longer tail so that it goes from the outer corner to the tail of my eyebrow. So you can see from the outside of your nostril to the corner of your eye to the tail of your brow. And as we age, that brow tends to fall a little bit short. So I just want to sculpt that back in. And then I like to do that on both sides before I do the top, just so I can make sure they're somewhat even and that the shape is not too different from one another. As you guys have heard me joke before, yes, eyebrows are supposed to be sisters and not twins. But as we age, there are days when I'm not even sure they're in the same family tree. Okay, so now that I've got the bottom lined, I'm just gonna go across the top, adding that same brown eyeshadow. And I'm gonna just slightly start to fill those in and give myself a nice little shape. Now, again, I like to do this with shadow because it's just a softer look to the brows, and your brows just look more youthful when they have a little bit of warmth to them. And the good thing about brows is you can give them any shape you want. I try to do my brows off camera, you guys, because it is a lengthy part of the process, but I think it's an important step just to share with you how that softer eyebrow look can be achieved so that you don't feel like you have to have a pencil every time. I mean, and even in a pinch, if you for some reason can't find your makeup bag and you can't get a hold of your favorite eyebrow pencil, it's always a good reminder you can just pick up your shadow. Next, I'll go back to that same angled edge of that eyebrow brush and just go into any of your palettes and find a lighter color than your original brow color. So I just picked up the Natasha Denona Glam palette, and I'm gonna go in with this light color here. It's not that much different, but it is a matte. That's critically important that it's a matte color. And I'm just gonna draw in some wispy brows right in the front. Use what's left on your brush to do the other side. And if you need to go back, go ahead, but don't assume that you'll need to go back into your color. Just try to get what's left on the brush and then fill in whatever you have left. And now let's just go back and comb them out a little bit. And then once you find the brow shape and color that you like, just go in with your favorite setting gel, or just add a little bit of hairspray to a comb if you'd like, or onto a spoolie, and comb that through so that your brows will last that shape throughout the remainder of your day, your event, whatever it is you have going on. All right, now what you're all here for is let's get into the eyes. First thing I wanna do is go in with a light translucent powder. I'm going with a very clean, fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go all over my lid where I put that concealer so that my concealer doesn't crease and so that my eyeshadow will apply very flawlessly all over my eyelids. You can see that lightens up that eye area and just gives us a nice smoothable area to work with and minimizes creasing. Next, I'm gonna grab a very light vanilla color. This is called the One from ColourPop's Blush Crush. And I'm just gonna get a little bit of that and go all the way across the lash line, corner to corner, all the way up just underneath my brow bone. Because I just want to give a nice base of color to work with before we start to add some, real colors. Next, I want to go in with a light, very light hand and a mauve pink color. And I'm going to use this Cheek to Cheek, also from the Blush Crush palette. And I want to go just ever so slightly on this outer corner. And I'm going to use one brush to deposit the color and then another brush to blend the color. So I'm really just wanting to put it on that outer corner, a little tiny V, and this inner corner also a little tiny V. So up into the crease, across the lash line in that tear duct area, no wider than the brush. So you can see what that looks like, just like that. We're not trying to go into the crease right now. We're just adding that right like that. I will do it to the other side and then we'll blend it and our eye will start to take a little bit of shape. Now the reason I'm walking you through this eyeshadow look when this is really a Fluttery eyelash look is because the type of eyeshadow that you have on in the overall look is important to consider when putting on your lashes. So if you have too much eye makeup or too much lipstick and then you put on a Fluttery lash, it can have a very different look than maybe what you're intending. You want to keep your eyeshadow very minimalistic with just a little bit of dimension so that it doesn't look like you've got lashes on a flat surface. So that's what we're doing now, is just adding some of the shading in so that our eye appears very curved, which they are. So now I want to go in with a clean fluffy brush. I always like to have a few brushes that are white at the tip so that I know those are my blending brushes, and I don't add color to those. I leave them that way so that I can quickly grab them. I can identify that that's a blending brush, and it also shows me that when the tips of them start to get a little bit dirty, I know my blending brush needs to be cleaned. And this is the Angie Hot and Flashy A503. So with that, I'm just gonna go in and blend ever so slightly, not trying to move that product to the center of my eye, just blend it out a little bit and smoke it slightly to the outer corner and up. And then in the inner corner, same thing. I don't want to move that product around. I don't want it to go to the center. I don't want it to go here. I just want it to go right through here. Now remember that since we're blending these colors, it's important that your colors are matte. Once you put on a shimmer, you definitely don't want to ever blend a shimmery color. So blending is really left for your matte colors. Now, if you wanted to put your shimmer color on first and work around it, but you don't want to be blending any shimmer, metallic, pearl type colors, that's where you start to get that messy look, or when you look back and go, gosh, I don't see the distinctive transition from color to color. That's typically a telltale sign that maybe you blended with some shimmers. Okay, so now that we've got that, we just want to take what's left on our blending brush and start to cut out a little bit of a crease and just connect this color to that color, back and forth ever so slightly in a nice soft fashion. Again, we're not adding any more color to our brush. We are just blending those two. So sort of like the two ends of the rainbow are needing to connect. And then anything left, we're just gonna pull out just like that. Now what we're gonna do, you guys, is stick with me on this one, is we are going to we're gonna go back to our foundation brush, and we're gonna pick up a little bit of that color that we just put on our eyes, on our finger, and we're gonna add it ever so slightly to our cheeks. So just like that. Now remember, that's that same color. If you use a very dark color on your eyes, then this would not look good. But if you are using any colors of peaches or brick or terracotta, then you'll wanna just do this very simple trick. Then we're gonna pick up our foundation brush that still has some product on it, and we're just gonna ever so slightly blend that powder blush with our foundation brush into our cheeks to give us a little bit of a kissed cheek color, that when the look is all done, it's gonna match everything and coordinate very nicely. Now when it goes to your cheekbones, again, you wanna start from the top of your ear to the outer corner of your mouth. That's the line that you're looking for, but you don't wanna cover that whole area with blush. So that's the angle, but then you wanna sort of meet that halfway at that outer corner of your eye. And the reason these angles are important is because it's easy for me to say, oh, put your blush right here. But if your face shape is different than mine, then that placement won't look right on you, and then you'll be frustrated because the look won't be the same. So I just want to help you understand not that you need me to help you understand the anatomy of your face, you know what the anatomy of your face is, but the placement of these products can really make a big difference on the overall look. And then picking up that same buffer brush that we used on our foundation and use that to soften any of those lines that maybe we might have missed. And just like that, your blush is done. All right, now we're gonna go back to our eyes because we still have a little bit of work to do there. Next, I'm gonna grab a small brush, a small eyeshadow brush, and I'll go into the Natasha Denona Glam palette. I'm gonna grab some of this inner corner on the side of the brush, tap off all that excess. Now, if you don't have that Glam palette, look for a highlighter that you might have, or you might have the Stila Kitten highlighter. That will work as well. Same thing, just put it on the side of your brush, tap off any excess. And we're gonna go from the lash line all the way up to the crease, right down in about a stripe. So pretty simple. I'm just gonna pick up some more of this Stila Kitten, because you probably have that, and just go right down the center. Now, some people refer to this as the halo look, and same on this, from the lash line, crease line, lash line, about a strip, and then just go back and sort of blend it out. Now, we're not trying to move that because it does have a shimmer to it. We are just trying to give it a little bit of glow and blend it slightly so that the edges are blurred. And in order to do that, we'll just grab a clean blending brush. So again, something that has a white tip to it. So for me, this will just be a small MAC brush. And I'm just gonna go softly on each edge to bring in some of those outer corner colors onto the edges of that highlight look that we just put in. Now I'm gonna grab a very small brush and I'm gonna go into the darkest color. And for that, I'm gonna go into this Natasha Denona palette. I'm just gonna grab this dark brown, a little bit darker than we used on our eyebrows, for no other reason other than that's the darker brown in that palette. And I'm gonna go in the very outer corner and very inner corner of that V that we started with earlier. And of course, we will then go in and blend that out. So just about like that. And then I'll grab another clean blending brush. That one's probably a little bit bigger because my area is pretty small. So let me find a smaller clean blending brush. Here's one. Again, I know my blending brushes because they have the white tip to them. That's a really important step for any eye makeup or makeup setup that you have in front of you. Just when you're looking to purchase new brushes, or you've got some brushes and you've cleaned them all, look at the ones that have that white tip and set those aside and put them in maybe a little special area that is just your blending brushes. It just makes the application of your makeup look more clean, precise, and goes a lot faster. So with that, I'm just gonna take that and ever so slightly blend little small V into that outer corner so that it looks like there's some dimension. Remember, with eyeshadow, you always wanna go from the lightest color to the darkest. And we're just gonna pull that out ever so slightly. I'm gonna do the other outer corner first, just so I can ensure that the angles are very similar. You can do this step however you choose. You can even skip this step if you want. It's not critically important to the overall look. I just wanted to add a little bit of dimension to the eye before we start to apply our lashes. And I'm gonna go back into that very first color that we used as our base, add a little bit of color to the brush, and now I just wanna go across that crease to blend everything together so that it really molds and melts and finishes off that eyeshadow look. You can see the difference between the two. This one just looks like all the colors are more fused together. This one looks as though we put all the cupcakes in the shape of the flower, but we haven't put the frosting on it yet. Does that kind of make sense? That's a weird analogy. I must be hungry, but I think that gives you an idea of the look that we're trying to go for. Not a cupcake flower look, but you know, there were days we probably would have done that. Hopefully you've got something similar to that. Now I'm gonna take a flat brush. I'm gonna go into the darker color that we just put in our outer corners. We're gonna go across the bottom lashes. About 2/3 of the way. Don't worry if it's not blended, that's okay, because we're gonna go in with a clean pencil blending brush to blend that out. And then we'll grab a clean pencil brush and just soften that under eye area so that we give it some dimension, but we've coordinated the color and connected the colors to that outer dark color that we put in the outer and inner corners of our eye. And blend that together. All right, now we are ready for the final touches, which is why you're all here, and that's the lashes. I'm just gonna curl my eyelashes, and I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3 at the bottom, and then crimp as I pull out, just like that. Make sure they're nice and separate. Next, I'm gonna add some Lash Builder. This is the Clinique Lash Building Primer. Makes sense. And I'm gonna go into the very bottom of my lashes and pull those all the way out. Now you guys, you can skip a lot of that eyeshadow look if you want. You can just add a little bit of concealer and highlighter to your eyes, and then maybe even a little bit of bronzer in the crease if you want to just add a little bit of color and dimension to your eyes, or you can just add just some concealer and cover them up so that you have just, again, a neutral palette to work from. So I'm gonna add that primer. Yes, it looks very white, which is the opposite of what the look I'm going for, but isn't that the case with makeup half the time? We get it looking crazy before it all looks flawless. We hope flawless is the name of the game today. So you just wanna give those lashes a little bit of time to dry, and that primer really gives an extra coat of strength to your lashes, but it also adds more product to the lash so that your mascara has more to grab to, so that you have a thicker lash. And when you have a lot of thicker lashes, then they all look thicker. So I'm gonna use the Stroke of Wow by Butter of London, which I have loved this mascara, also from that Costco finds. You get 2 of them for, I think it was like $20. And this has become my new favorite mascara. And I'm just gonna coat my lashes really heavily, making sure that I am not getting them stuck together, which is one of the things I like about that Clinique primer, is it helps with the mascara application and from the lashes clumping together. So that is one of the reasons that at first, you guys, I thought, gosh, this is just another step to my lashes. I already put on 3 coats of mascara. Do I really need a 4th? However, it has helped with the peeling of the lashes and unsticking them from one another at the end of the makeup application. So it's been time well spent. I'm just gonna go back in, get a little bit more product, and I'm gonna do this eye. And then we'll let those dry and go in for a second coat. Now the key to this Fluttery lash look is to ensure that your lashes are very separated, which again is why I love this brush, because it has a normal mascara brush to it. And then on the top of it, or depending on how you hold the wand, but in this case it's the top, it's more of a cone shape. So it really allows you to go in and separate your lashes. So once I get the lashes coated really nicely, I will go back in with the comb part of this and separate the lashes. Now you can also buy brushes that are designed specifically to separate your lashes, and they're just a little tiny fan brush. I'll insert a picture of it here for you. I had one and I'm just not able to find it right this second. Of course, because I need it, so I'm not gonna be able to find it. So I'm just gonna go back to this side and I'm going to separate those lashes. And I'm gonna spend a little bit of extra time focusing on the outer corner of the lashes, just to really pull them out a bit and give that a little bit more of a fluttery look. While I'm letting those dry, I'm gonna use the remainder of the product, not going back into my mascara, and go to my lower lash line, again with the comb part of the brush, and just put a light coating on the lower lashes. Okay, so now we're gonna put on a few individual wispies at the end just to give it a little bit more of that lengthy, fluttery look. If you like to wear a full strip lash, some of my favorite are by Pure. This is the Pro eyelashes, and these are, I love this shape. And again, this is by Pure, the same brand that makes the eyebrow pencil that I love so much. They're a little bit glam, but they're not so full glam. I don't wear false strip lashes very often, but if I do, those are the ones that I have reached for. But for this look, we're just gonna add a few little individual wispies. This is the Huda Beauty Lash Glue. And I like to use the one in black. I like that it just adds a little bit of color and it blends as it's drying. And I'm gonna go in with just some wispies, some individual wispies. These are the ones by Kiss. And I like them because there's more lashes to each one. The individual lashes, as you guys know, are challenging to put on. So the more lash I can get by one application, it's just faster and it's much less frustrating. So these come in small, medium, and large. Obviously, I like the medium ones, and that's the ones that I'm gonna grab today. And I'm just gonna grab probably one for each eye. I'm just gonna take it off with this little tweezer, I'm gonna add a little bit of the glue right on the edge of the lash. I like to just wipe any of that off. Let it dry for a second so that it gets nice and tacky, which is one of the reasons I like to put it on the back of my hand. And then I'm just gonna look as low into the mirror as I can. A little challenging in the camera, but we will make it work. And then it just goes just like that. I'm gonna make sure that the placement is right, that it's actually being glued to my lashes and not to my skin. I'm gonna let that one sit for a second and set up. I'm gonna grab the next one, same thing. And we're just gonna go onto the same side, this other side. Same application onto the lashes themselves. Make sure it releases. And if it's not releasing quickly, and if it's not releasing, then either your tweezers might have glue on them from a previous application, or your glue is not tacky enough to stick your lashes to your lashes and not to your tweezers. So just double check that and make sure that that glue is set up enough and it's really tacky. So now that I've got those lashes on there, I'm just gonna go back in and make sure that there's no glue on my tweezers and press them together. Same on this side. Okay, now if you wear glasses and it's hard to see inside of a makeup mirror like this to apply false lashes, then just apply an extra coat of mascara to that outer edge and then comb through it to ensure that they're not stuck together. Also, if you don't have a specific mascara or eyelash brush, then you can grab the spoolie side of your eyebrow brush and just go in and separate your lashes with your eyebrow spoolie. It works just fine. So don't be afraid of this look if, for example, it's harder for you to see in these little mirrors. Speaking of mascara, we're gonna go in with our third and final coat, and I'm using the Lancome Defensibles Waterproof. And I'm just gonna use this so that none of that mascara transfers down below, and so that I can connect those wispy lashes to my real lashes and meld them into one. And then with what's left on the brush, I'll go in and go to those bottom lashes just to give it a little bit of a fun wispy look down below. And then if you need to, you can always go back and add just a touch more concealer. I can see where I've got a little bit of purple still. So I'm gonna cover that up. Grab a damp beauty sponge. I like these small ones by Real Technique. I'm gonna use this side of it just so that I don't smear that concealer everywhere. So I'm using that small tip, and I'm just gonna press that in and go up with it. And again, this is just to get rid of any of that purple area. This isn't a step that you need to do if you do not have, discoloration underneath your eyes. I didn't see that earlier, else I would have used some color corrector. Now you can set this with a little bit of translucent powder under your eyes. If you wear glasses, I would really recommend that you add some of that powder because it allows your lenses to sit more on the powder versus sitting on that concealer and leaving that crease line. Or if you're gonna be wearing sunglasses, same thing, set this under eye concealer with a little bit of powder. It just helps that look from when you take off your glasses and you've got those marks right underneath your eye. All right, and from there I'm just gonna add a little bit of a nude lip. So I'm gonna use the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. I'm gonna start by outlining my lip and giving it the shape that I want. And then I'm gonna go back in and color that in. And to add that dewy look to our lip, I'm gonna grab a Mineralize Rich formula from MAC. And this is in Fashion, I believe. I'll link it down below. I'm gonna grab a spongy brush that I use just for my lips. This is just a sort of a peachy color. It matches really well with our eyes. And I'm gonna start with that just in the center of my lips and work it out towards the corners. But I don't wanna go all the way to the corner with the lipstick, but I do wanna make sure that I go all the way to the corner with the lip liner so that we don't forget those corners and shorten the look of our mouth. So pull that liner all the way out and then add your lipstick just to that center. Almost think about that center where your lipstick is, the same as the center of that halo where we did our eyes. And then you'll blend that together. Now at this stage, you can always go back with a fluffy brush, grab some of your highlighter. We'll go back to that Stila Kitten because you guys know how much I love this one. It wears more like a cream, so you can put it on with a damp beauty sponge or a nice fluffy brush like this. And just touch up ever so slightly on the high points of your cheeks. Why do I feel like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz right now? Are you guys getting that vibe? It's almost like I need like braids right here or something. Must be the outfit. Okay, we're gonna go just a little bit down the center of our nose, Cupid's bow, and we are set. Now, hope I don't get this eyelash glue that's still on the back of my hand in my hair as we do this. So forgive me as I'm very careful with this hand. And just like that, you have a fun, fluttery eyelash look right on trend this fall. Now remember, this trend can go a lot of different directions, so you can use very little eyeshadow. You can use some light, neutral, shiny type eyeshadows, but the things to stay away from is a heavy glam, heavy eyeshadow look with this fluttery eyelashes. If you're gonna do a heavy glam, you want a very different type of an eyelash. This eyelash is a fun, flirty, mysterious almost, but youthful type look to your lashes. I hope you like this tutorial. If so, please give it a thumbs up and please share it with any of your friends that you think might also want to be on trend for fall with their eyelashes and enjoy this in-depth tutorial. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.